This is Scientific Proof of God, the book. You can get it at for free at 263672.com. Download it for free. There's also some YouTube videos. Okay, so basically what I did is I proved that God exists, and I put in like a little graph over here. Okay, now if you look at this fence, it's got 10 slats on it, right? So let's say you walked into a field and you saw arrows inside of a fence, and you didn't know if this was from a volley of arrows by an army that shot randomly into the field and it landed in the fence, or there was some guy doing target practice, getting up close to the fence and shooting at these slats, right? You don't know. You see the arrows. So you start doing probability, right? Now, if you saw these arrows, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but there's 26 arrows, 26 dots. Now, 10 slats, 26 dots, but they're all in slat number 1 or number 3 or number 4, or any of the 3 slats, right? And not only are they on those slats, and none of them are in the other slats, but they're also generally closer to the center of the slat. So what would you say? Does this look to you like it was random? If it was random, it should be spread over evenly, not exactly evenly, but it should be spread out over the whole 10 slats. And right, so you agree with that? Now let's say I said I looked at the dimensions of the solar system. I took the Earth, the Moon, I made ratios of the relative speeds, how fast the Moon goes around, how fast the Earth goes around. I divide them by each other. How many times faster is the Earth going than the Moon, right? It's a number. It should be random, right? Would you expect it to be anything other than random? According to science, everything's random, right? You're not going to see a pattern. You're not going to see anything special. Let's say you take the dimensions. You take the size of the sun and you divide it by the size of the moon. Completely random, right? But let's say I told you that these 26 points are those ratios of the sun, the moon, and the earth, whether it's dimensions of time, distance, time of rotation, size, speed, okay? What if I told you that are those 26? Now, when you look at it as if it's arrows in a fence and you come to see it, would you say that somebody did it this way on purpose? Or would you say that it was random? You just said, obviously, it's not random. Somebody did it on purpose. But that's what this is. So this is the first time in the history of the world that somebody has found and proven that the world is not random. Okay? Now, if you look at this box over here, there's you take a box, you put 10 small boxes in it, and you throw a ball inside. It's going to fall into one of those boxes. You do that 26 times. What are the chances that you see a pattern like this? They all fall into these 3 boxes, or any 3 boxes, but they don't fall into the other 7. 26 times. The math is actually very simple. It's 3 over 10 is 3 chances out of 10, 3 boxes, right? And you multiply it 3 out of 10 times 3 out of 10 times 3 out of 10. It comes out, the chances are 1 in 100 billion that it comes out like this, by chance. The chances that they come close to the round numbers, okay, it's 1 in 10 billion. Together it's 1 in 1,000 billion. So the chances of the solar system, that these ratios come out this way by chance and not by purposeful design is 1 in 1,000 billion. So basically, if somebody says, should I live my life as if there's no God and there won't be any consequences? Yeah, there's 1 in 1,000 billion chance that that's true, and you're not going to have any consequences. But the other 999.9999% chance is that there is a God that created the world, and there are consequences. So what do you choose? Okay, so now you're probably asking, where did this come from? This is crazy. I've never seen this, but I've never heard of this before. What are you talking about? Well, it starts off over here. You look at the sun and the moon during an eclipse, right? You see that they cover each other perfectly. The moon covers the sun, and it's so perfect that you can see the corona around it, okay? So what does it mean? I mean, we're here in this world to see this sight. We exist here and we see it. It sounds, a lot of people say this is proof that God exists. Other people say, nah, it's by chance. Okay, I tried to prove whether it's chance or not. It's kind of hard to prove just with one thing, right? So I kept looking for more things. And so I looked at all these different things here. The speed of light, right? The moon orbits around the Earth at 1/300,000th the speed of light. Very close to that number. It's very close to a round number. Okay. Now the sun is bigger than the moon 400 times, right? 400.8. Very close to a round number. It gets very suspicious. The distance to the sun is 400 times the distance from the Earth to the moon. 390 actually. Very close to a round number 400. So what it meant to me is this is very suspicious. Let's look into this, right? And let's try to do a probability of this being. So in order to do probability mathematically, you have to use a full set. You don't just pick the things that you find interesting and do a probability. So you do a set. What is a set? You take the sun, moon, and Earth. It's a set. You put them in a box. Okay, and you look at the probability of what? You ask a question in probability. What is the probability of the ratios of their sizes and distances being close to round numbers, as opposed to being not a round number? That means 450, right, is not a round number. 400 is a round number. 500 is a round number, right? 550 is not a round number. So you do odds, okay? I found it easier to do odds because odds cancel out. It's just much easier to do odds than regular probability, okay? So you start doing the math, okay? That's what we have over here. You're doing the odds. How do you do the odds? You take 400.8. 400 minus 400.8 is 0.8. 450 minus 408 is 49.2. 49.2, right, divided by 0.8 is 61.5. So we get a probability of it being closer to the round number as opposed to being further away. Now you do it for the next one. 390 is the next number. Again, you get a probability. Now with probabilities in a random world, the more points you take, the more likely they'll cancel out with each other. Okay, so you found one that's close to a round number. The next one will be far away from a round number. The probability should cancel out, right? That's what we'd expect to see. We'd expect the first number to be close to a round number, the next one to be in the middle, the next one to be somewhere else. And the more you put, more numbers you put into this equation, the more likely it's going to be closer and closer to 1 over 1. But what do we find? The more we put in, the more closer it is to 1 over 10 million. Then we go to 1 in 100 billion, right? The more you put in, the more you see that it's not random. So we started off with distance and size, the relationship between them, the ratio. We're like 400 times further away, 400 times bigger. Then we started doing, and with that, just that alone, those relationships give you a chance of 1 in 10 million that it's random. Obviously, it's not random. But if God made this happen, you can do more. Let's keep looking. Let's look in the dimension of time. Time of rotation, how fast it's going around, right? Let's check that out. See if it also comes out with something cool. And you know what? You'd expect it to cancel out and go back to get back and smaller to like 1 over 1. That means it's random. Instead it goes from 1 in 10 million, it goes up to 1 in 10 billion. Okay, when you add the dimensions of time. And then you also divide the speeds by the speed of light. It also just increases the improbability. Okay? And then you notice after you do that not only is it close to round numbers, it's close to specific round numbers. It's close to 1, 3, and 4. And that's very easy math. If you get a box, like you see depicted in the picture, a box of 10 boxes in it, and you want to throw it in, anyone could do that probably. Ask anyone the question. it goes to 1 in 100 billion. Okay? And then you multiply those two probabilities together, because that's how you do probability. It's 1 in 1,000 billion billion, and this is what we got. And this is absolute proof for the first time in the history of the world, ever. We have absolute proof, proven mathematically and scientifically, that the world was created and designed, and it's not random. So this is history. This is the first time, you're one of the first people to see this. Okay? Now, people ask next, what does 1, 3, and 4 mean? Okay, we know it's a code. We know it's designed by the creator of the world. We know it's intelligent. What is he telling us? Okay? So, I'll give you the explanation. It's right here. Right? We know that God's name, written on the mezuzah, is Shin Daled Yud. And we always do gematrias, right? Numerical correlation between letters and numbers. We do this in Kabbalah all the time. Shin Daled Yud, the gematria is 314, 314. If you do the small gematria, you take the shin, the 300, you make it into a 3, kind of similar to what I did. I took out like 400, made it 4. In the gematrias, you do the same thing. The 10 goes to a 1, and the 4 stays a 4. So it's 3, 4, 1. Okay? Now, God, when he created the world, there's a midrash where it says that he created the world and he made it expand and stretch and get bigger until he said die, which die in Hebrew is enough. Okay, he said enough. And it says in the midrash, like it said, what Yaakov said, the God Shin Daled Yud, the God Shakai, God with the name of Shin Daled Yud, that's related to this. So the exact measurements that God said, this is the size that I want, no bigger, no smaller, this is the exact dimensions that I want, in those dimensions are engraved his name, Shin Daled Yud. Okay? So not only do we have proof that it was created, we see basically that God signed his name there. He hid it there where it's not obvious, but if you search, you'll find it. And now we found it. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it.